It's not hyperbole at all to call this the greatest show ever conceived by man. It's the Mike Sasson Show. You are listening to us on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com, where you get the best local music and the best talk on the planet Earth. My name is Mike Sasson. I host this show, and over there is Alex Clemens. She produces said show, and we all do a tremendous job, and I'm really excited about this show because it's so jam-packed. I can't believe that we're allowed to broadcast it. It's like there's bandwidth problems throughout the world, like where it might be too much show for the continuous bandwidth. There might need to be like massive projects in order to increase the level of like fiber optic cable in order to broadcast this show. That's how big this show is. Want proof? Got proof. On June 30th, right here, you could see it, June 30th, YinzFest, right here, 24 bands, poets, artists, vendors, skate deck, DJs, raffles, more, sponsored by the Health Yinzer. Doors open at noon. You're sitting there going, Mike, I'd love to go, but I don't have the scratch for tickets. Well, guess what? Mike, being the nicest human being in the world, got 4 tickets for you. That's incredible. So you're sitting there going, hey, Mike, how do I get said tickets? We'll tell you in a few minutes because I'll be honest, we haven't really finalized how we're going to do this. So we'll figure that out later. Also, it's a big week for me. My nephew from Los Angeles, Matthew James, came into town, and I got to meet him. I'll be honest with you, first impressions, I think I'm his favorite uncle. He said it. Somewhat he said it. He goes, I'll be honest, I've met the other 3. Little disappointed. But you... comedian, broadcaster, sexiest man alive, according to Obese Male Monthly. You're everything I want, Uncle. At least that's what his eyes said. Anyways, we'll talk about that. Plus, this weekend I was at the Pittsburgh Improv. I'll give you the inside dope on what it's like to do a weekend at a big-time club like the Pittsburgh Improv. Plus, Alex, bar thoughts and experiences in which she discusses her love of fecal matter, otherwise known as poop. Plus, we've got Nick and Ashley. They have a Kickstarter. They're trying to get a new venue for Black Forge Coffee. We're going to be talking about that, and we'll even touch on the controversy that happened maybe about 2 years ago, in which the entire world seemed to be interested in someone's punch cards. So we'll discuss that if you don't remember that. Plus, James Corden, Paul McCartney, the video that is sweeping the world. It's this week's Fresh Eyes. I had asked Alex, I'll say it somehow. I asked Alex, see, did it, to watch it, and we will give our opinions of it. Little hint, apparently the Beatles are popular. Also, we're going to be going through some other news and notes. What area of the country per capita has the most psychos? Do you know? I know because I read the story, and I'll tell you later. Plus, apparently Burger King has to apologize because they're trying to get women free food for getting pregnant. How does that work? I'll tell you later. Again, it's the Mike Sasson Show. You might be watching us on Facebook Live, or on YouTube or Facebook after the fact. Again, remember to like the show, the Mike Sasson Show. It's the greatest thing that you could possibly do for yourself. Not even for me, for you. Also, you could be listening to us on www.riversedgepgh.com, or you could be listening to us on TuneIn Radio, which, by the way, you got the smart speakers. One thing I'm noticing is all the old man stations, all the terrestrial stations, they're all trying to get them to be like, hey, remember, say you like blah, blah, blah radio station on blah, blah media, and on your smart speaker, you know what? We were there first. Just sit there and say, I want to listen to River's Edge Pittsburgh on TuneIn Radio, and guess what? You get it just the same. You don't have to listen to 50 minutes of ads. You don't have to listen to lawyers telling you why you should sue someone. You listen to great music and great talk here at the River's Edge. Or you could be listening to us on any of the podcast formats, either Google Play, SoundCloud, or iTunes. That's the show. That's
Should
the show.
we just end it there, honestly?
That took 15 minutes just to tell you everything that's going to happen in the next hour or so. That's how jam-packed this show is. So we're going to get going. Again, there's Alex over there.
Hey.
First, do you think we should figure out how we're going to give away these tickets?
I just want people to say nice things about me because I don't think that people do enough.
You think?
Like, not in my daily life. Like, people say nice things about me in my daily life. But, like, people come up to you all the time and say nice things to you. So I think people should say nice things to me.
Okay, so that's how we're going to give away these 4 tickets. So right now, you have to be someone that has liked the page. So you got to like the page. And if you've liked the page, go on this right here and say something nice about Alex. And if Alex thinks that that is the most original, like, don't say, Alex, you're beautiful. She hears that all the time.
I know I'm beautiful.
I know. She knows. But, I mean, something that you'd be like, hey, Alex, I think you have great hair. Hey, Alex, your smile is wonderful. Hey, Alex, your choice in working with Mike was an incredible choice. Those are the type of things that are going to get you 4 tickets, free tickets to YinzFest. We'll leave them at the will call in your name. All you have to do is pick them up. It's so easy. Anyone could do it, including people who would watch this show. Anyways.
We should have done something like, you can win a free, you get to hang out with us too, you know? I don't want to.
Are you going to be at YinzFest?
No, I don't want to hang out with them. I'm just kidding.
I want to hang out with everyone. I love our fans. See, this is why no one comes up to you and says hi.
Because I'm just so mean to
because
people.
Seriously, they sit there and go, Mike is the nice one. Mike's like if we were the Beatles but only 2 of us, like you'd be like the aloof, pretty one.
Can tell.
And I'd be like, oh, that Mike's the approachable one.
I think people can tell from the way that we talk on the show that maybe I'm the nicer person in this.
No,
this show.
Because I'm real, Alex. They think you're putting on a show.
Oh.
They think that, you know what, obviously Alex is trying to just, play up and trying to, move in the world. See, 4 tickets, big time tickets. These are like real tickets. This is Ticketmaster. This is all sorts of stuff. But you don't have to deal with that corporate bunch of scumbags at Ticketmaster. You just have to deal with the Sass Man and Alex. So, again, say something nice about Alex. Make sure you've liked the show. On any of the segments, we're going to do this Thursday night. When are we going to pick? You're going to pick. So when do you want to pick?
I'm going to do it. Yeah, let's say Thursday night.
I'm
always feeling flirty on Thursdays.
So any segment, make sure you comment, and we'll remind everyone on the beginning of every segment to say something nice about Alex, and you could win 4 tickets to YinzFest. It's that easy. All right, moving on. As I mentioned before, big weekend for me. Met for the first time my nephew, Matthew James, all the way from Los Angeles. Put up the picture. I think he's adorable.
Oh, yeah, he's a cutie.
He is absolutely a cutie. And they came into town, my brother John.
I can see the resemblance.
Between who and who? Me and him?
Yeah.
Where do you see the resemblance?
I think your eyes.
Even though the thing about him is the eyes actually they think looks more like the mom, Jordan, who is not related to me.
Also, maybe the nose. I feel like you guys have a very similar nose.
Yeah, he has the Sasson nose.
You have a babe nose.
Every single Sasson child so far, and there's now 4 of them. My brother Tim has 3. Now John has 1. They've all got the Sasson uptick kind of nose. Everyone's got them. It's a dominant feature. It just kills any sort of like genetic like different nose. This nose beats its ass.
Yeah, there's not too many things like that in my family.
What do you mean,
I guess we have the Clements ears, which are not. They're like very large earlobes.
Okay, well, show the people at home if they're watching. They want to.
I don't have them.
Oh, you don't have them?
No. But like, it's a big thing in my family. I just don't have them. I have more traits of my mother, looks wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have her body type and more of her facial structure than the Clements family.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your mom's maiden name?
Waldron.
Waldron?
Waldron. You have to say it like that every time.
Waldron.
Yes.
Okay, so you have more Waldron in you.
Yes.
You have to say it slow. You can't say Waldron.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then that sounds like a store I'd go to. Like, oh, let's go to Waldron's.
That's it, because it's like Walgreens?
Yeah, sort of. Like there's W's, Walmart, Waldron's, Woolworths. W's were big with retail.
Yeah, maybe that's the secret.
Yeah, you should open up a store called Waldron's. And then you would
and
sell.
People will say it like that. Waldron's.
We should go to Waldron's and then be like, okay, let's get you back to school clothes at Waldron's.
Yep.
There you go. So again, congratulations to MJ. I'm calling him MJ. Because and I'll be honest, I didn't even say this to John and Jordan, their parents. He's named after my youngest brother, Matthew.
Right. Not after you.
Not after me, because be honest with you, John
no one likes you.
Yeah, no one likes me. John's not a big fan of me. But here's the thing. In my life, I already have a Matthew. So I don't want to confuse him. So he's MJ.
Okay.
So I'm just going to be like, so there's a difference because they're going to be in the same room. I don't want to be like Matthew and then like two people turn around. I want to be like, all right, there's Matt and there's MJ.
Or Lil Matt.
I don't want little.
Yeah, and then he becomes a rapper.
Well, let me ask you
Lil
a question.
Matt.
When you have a child, would you consider, there's no juniors in our family, even though we have 97 kids. There's no Bob Sasson Jr.
My dream
Okay.
is to marry someone else named Alex and then
Okay.
name our child Alex because it would be the most confusing thing in the world.
And so people would just be like, I hate Alex. And they'd be like, which one of us?
Yeah.
There you go.
No, but you wouldn't know. Would they be like the third because there's two of us? Or would they just be
Well, I mean, if it was
Junior,
a guy, if it was a man, it was Alex, the dude. It'd be Alex Jr. based on your husband, Alex.
Yeah.
If it was Alexandria.
I just want to have one child and name them Alex the Fourth and then confuse everyone.
Yeah. Then be like, why is it the fourth? And be like, because I said so, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure my husband would approve of that too.
There you go. So, yeah. Congratulations for MJ for being my nephew. It will come with many wonderful things in the future. So far, it went with a meal at Eaton Park, in which he didn't even eat. I got him like a steak, and he didn't even eat it.
Ugh.
Ungrateful bastard. Anyways, moving on. Big weekend for me. I had performed at the Improv on several occasions. I'd done like showcases. I'd done one nights, maybe a couple times where I'd filled in. But I'd never had what I would describe as a weekend at the Improv until this past weekend, in which I performed with Colin Chamberlain, who's a close friend of mine and a great friend of the Mike Sasson Show, loves the show. And headlining was Adam Ferreira, who, very nice man, got to spend time with him. Very nice man. You might have seen him on Rescue Me or Nurse Jackie or Top Gear US, or in his movie coming up later this year, Little Italy with Emma Roberts. And the reason why I know this is because I was the MC, and that's how I introduced him 6 times. So I know all of that, and I'm very proud by the fact that I never messed it up.
I'm
that
so
was
proud.
That was a weird thing. So a couple things about this weekend, which was interesting, is, again, it was 6 shows.
Right.
Thursday night, twice on Friday, twice on Saturday, 1 on Sunday.
Did you do the same thing every time?
I tried to mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
I tried to take a vibe of the audience, like I typically do with, I go into any room, I kind of see, okay, do I think the room's young? Do I think the room's hot? Do I think the room needs energy? Do I think the room needs to, kind of calm down? And that's one of the things about doing 6 shows with the same 3 people in the same room in that close a time frame.
Right.
It's, you really, you learn everybody's act. And also you can it's really weird how much things can be different when everything else is relatively the same. Like the Thursday show was, again, it was Thursday. People might have to go to work the next day. And so they were kind of, a little, apprehensive. They were having fun, but they couldn't have too much fun because,
right.
All that kind of stuff. Friday early show was real good. Friday late show everyone was tired. They had been to work. They maybe had already had their meal, all that other kind of stuff. The best show of the weekend was Saturday early.
Yeah.
Because everyone, it's Saturday night. Everybody's going to go out after this. They're all pumped. It was a packed house. That was the picture I took. That was Adam. That was the early. It was sold out.
Looks packed.
Yeah, packed to the gills. And so that was the one where it was the definition of a hot crowd. Like, this is how hot the crowd was. Adam, during the entire weekend, was working on this bit. And Colin and I had kind of worked with him and gave him a little bit of punches. So I said, like, the point was his joke was, why would anybody want to go to a place called the Dress Barn? Like, he felt that that's insulting to someone that you're going into a place called the Dress Barn.
Right.
And so, like, he sat there and one of his lines was like, oh, it's a barn, and one of the tags I gave him was like, oh, old McDonald's a pervert, make sure you watch him, E-I-E-I-O, he's a pervert, something like that. And so he did the line, and he kind of flubbed it a little, and then he said it again, and it still got a big laugh. And after the show, he goes, that's how hot that crowd was. They didn't care that I did the same line again, and they laughed at it again.
Right.
It was one of those times where it was like that. This was why you do comedy. And everybody crushed. Adam was funny as hell. Colin crushed. I crushed. Everything was awesome. But the thing was that really made the show special was after the show. People were seeking out me and Colin. I mean, the headliner always gets seeked out because he's the one that they see him on TV, stuff like that. But people were seeking out us. One person came up to me and Colin as we were kind of hanging out together and said, I've been going to shows for 10 years here. That was the best show I'd ever seen at the Improv. He goes, what? I'm going to come tomorrow and come again. And here's the weird part about it. We saw him again on Sunday. The guy showed up again to see the show one more time, which we were kind of feeling bad. He goes, is it going to be that much different? And me and Colin were like, kinda. I mean, we might have a few new jokes.
Yeah.
And so that felt good. And then these two girls who were like in college, because they told us where they went to school, came up to me and Colin and were like, oh my God, can we have a picture with you? And me and Colin are like, okay, or whatever. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And so we had the manager of the Improv taking pictures with us, like we're like, whatever. And they're like, oh my God, you guys are so funny. That's so awesome. Thank you very much. And like the manager of the Improv, Nikki, was sitting there going, those girls treated you like you were in One Direction.
Did you sign any boobs?
I didn't sign any boobs. I would have totally wanted to sign boobs. Would you sign boobs?
Hell yeah.
Okay, if anyone comes
People come to me with your boobs.
Come with you. Some people don't sign skin. They say they don't want to sign boobs.
But why?
I don't know. I think you would enjoy signing some boobs.
Yeah.
My thing would be, okay, you got to get a good autograph.
You got to lift from underneath.
No, you can't touch the boob.
I think that they would let me.
They'd let Alex.
Yeah, you got to lift from underneath and then sign, so you have a nice sturdy signing place.
Okay, here's the thing. If there's a woman out there that would let Alex sign her boobs,
and scoop them.
I think that gets you closer to the 4 tickets from YinzFest. So make sure, again,
some weird ass girl's gonna come up to me and be like, hey.
Would you do it?
All right.
Yeah, you get the 4 tickets
Yeah.
and Alex gets to sign your boobs. One of the weirdest moments I'd ever had in comedy was I actually did we have Nick coming up. He was a bartender at Lava Lounge.
Oh man, I was just talking about how much I miss that place.
Yeah, and we had a comedy open mic every Monday. It was a cool, weird room, but it was fun. And one of the first shows I ever did there, I did really, really well. And this woman comes up to me and goes, will you sign my stomach? And I go, okay. And so I signed her stomach, and she goes, thank you. 2 weeks later, she comes back. She goes, hey, you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, I remember you. You're a good-looking woman who I signed your stomach. And she goes, look. And she pulls up her stomach. She had made it into a tattoo.
Nope, no.
Yes.
No, she didn't.
Yes,
I don't
did.
believe this
Yes,
story.
she did.
I need someone to back that up, because I don't believe that.
She's currently in a monastery because she's, her parents sent her there. But that legitimately happened.
I still, no. I need proof of that.
Well, she showed me 2 weeks, unless the...
You should have taken a picture of it, Mike, and then saved it. I mean, really, no one's going to believe that.
I know. I don't even believe me. Even that, or she just continually used the Sharpie in order to make it look like a tattoo. So, again, great. But then the funny thing is that, after that moment, Colin looks at me and he goes, we should quit.
This is it. This is the best we're going to get.
This is the top. We just crushed. It was a sold-out crowd. We just need to quit. And you know what? The next crowd wasn't bad, but nowhere near that crowd. And at the end of that show, I went up to Colin. I'm like, we should have quit. That was really great advice. We just should have, which proves when you reach your pinnacle, just don't, when you're at the casino and you hit big, don't try to put another quarter in the machine. Walk away and go get a sandwich. So that happened. So again, thank you very much for everyone at the Improv. They're really, really nice. Now, I also learned some things that I worked on comedy and doing that many shows, a couple things that I made some announcements. I don't know what it is, but white ladies' names are always big laughs in comedy. Like, you just sit there and go, okay, Carol. Okay, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Okay, Stacy.
Yeah.
Everyone, why do you think that is?
I don't know.
I think it's because everyone knows
It's very
that Carol,
relatable. Yeah.
Everyone knows that
and
Carol.
Like, oh, Carol.
Oh,
Yeah.
we hate Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Alex, again, not that. Everyone's
Not
okay,
good.
Alex. Then we're like, oh, your dad.
Is
or
it a
Michael.
man or a woman?
But it has to be like a woman that sounds like she'd be a librarian.
Like, you should use Debbie or Deborah.
Okay,
Deborah.
yeah, Deborah.
Oh,
That's
okay,
a funny
Deborah.
word. Okay, Deborah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Esther. Esther sounds like a woman that's clearly going to call customer service and complain that the soup has too much sodium in it.
Yeah.
That's a sodium-hating woman. So that's what I learned in comedy. White lady names.
White lady names.
White lady names crush. I'm actually thinking of if ever there's a night that's slow, I will just go into the audience and figure out who has the whitest white lady name and see what happens.
That seems super fun.
Isn't it? I'll be like, what's your name?
everyone.
She's like, Stacy. I'm like, all right, that's like a 4 out of 5. What's your name? Carol Johnson. I'm like, you run a library service. You run a bookmobile. You have the whitest. You run word processing for an insurance company.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Those are white lady names. All right. Anyways, no, it's not a white lady name. The Mike Sasson Show. And after this, we're going to do bar thoughts and experiences, and then we're going to have Nick Miller and Ashley Corts. They're from Black Forge Coffee. They have a Kickstarter because they want a second venue so that guys like me can do comedy for people like you. So everyone wins. It's the Mike Sasson Show. We'll be right back.
Brian Crawford letting you know that Kevin Slogic, my State Farm agent in Allison Park, is here to help life go right and reminds you that you're listening to the River's Edge Radio Network.
Well, go, it's green, come on! Go!
God damn it, Brian. You need to calm down
Yeah,
with
I'm
the road
sick of
rage.
these people, these assholes.
The road rage, man. You got to calm down on the road rage.
Well, I want to get to where we're going. We have a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to Falling Water,
Bicycle heaven.
the Mattress Factory,
Tuck knob.
Trundle Manor. All right, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Come on,
right,
come on.
right.
Too late now.
Right, come on.
Well, too late now. I got to keep going. I'm not going to sit here like some asshole.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, you're listening to The Culture Cruise. You can find us at riversedgepgh.com.
Your local Pittsburgh area museum podcast.
Yes, riversedgepgh.com, and come take a ride with us.
Yes, you need to take a ride with us on the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com, or on Facebook Live, or on Facebook during the week, or on TuneIn Radio across the planet Earth, or on any of the podcast formats, Google Play, iTunes, or SoundCloud. Again, my name is Mike Sasson. That is Alex Clemens. She loves to drink and then think about really deep things and then write them down. It's called Bar Thoughts and Experiences, Alex. Alex, play your theme song.
Maybe y'all can relate. My style's dope any way that you slice it. Here's a fresh cut, hope that you like it.
All right, Alex, by the way, I think I did that entire opening without breathing. So
Oh, I'm so proud of you, Mike.
thank you.
That's
There's
what I was really
little
hoping
victories.
for.
And remember, folks, if you want 4 tickets to YinzFest, go below and say something nice about Alex. Make sure you're a person that likes the show. And if you're one of those people, you get 4 tickets to the event of June 30th, YinzFest. It's got bands, poems. There's a good chance that Led Zeppelin might reunite. Maybe Richard Pryor's going to do a set. Who knows? Is that a possibility? There's so much that could be a possibility. If you're not there, you might miss it. Again, go and say something nice about Alex, because she's going to have a great segment right here. Go ahead,
Yeah, and
Alex.
because I'm pretty in things and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So since we are talking about coffee today, I figured we'd talk about poop.
Which,
because
again,
the two go hand in hand.
Is that your number one diuretic? Is that your number one way to get the poop flowing?
coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's mine, too.
Yeah.
Cigarettes, everyone always talks about cigarettes. I don't smoke, and everyone talks about that. That's a big-time poop maker.
No, definitely coffee.
Definitely coffee.
all the way. But so my coworker was talking today. She found this sticker for me that's just really awesome. It's this little poop emoji, and it says, "See you later, turds," and I really want it. But so she was explaining to my other coworker, and she was like, "You know how Alex really likes poop? And he was
Like
like,
even at work, you reveal your poop.
yeah, and he was like,
Do you like pooping or actual poop?
well, he was like, like the word poop, because I do say poop a lot,
You don't like shit.
instead of swear. No, I say shit all the time, but like I say poop all the time if I don't want to swear in front of people,
If you would rank your euphemisms for fecal matter, it's poop 1.
Yeah,
How about shit?
that would be 2.
How about crap?
I don't really say crap that much anymore.
So crap's a distant 3.
Yeah.
What else? What other ones are there? It's a load of dung. How about dung?
No one says anything else.
How about that's a load of horse caca.
No.
Caca is a one.
No.
Okay, so it's
For babies.
Yeah. Okay, so not for advanced poop people like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
But she said, no, like all things poop. She loves all things poop.
All things poop.
Anyway, so there is this story came out a long time ago. My friend told me about it since he knows that I love poop. And basically it's called a poop knife. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
So there's a story this guy posted about how his family used this poop knife because they pooped really big and their toilets like couldn't handle it, and sometimes it just like wouldn't flush down, or like it would clog the toilet. So what you do is you have a poop knife and you cut the poop in half before you flush it down so that it goes down easier. So this guy posted this whole story about how they had this old rusty kitchen knife hung up on the wall in the laundry room, and like whenever they'd have a big poop, like they'd call out and be like, hey, can someone bring me the poop knife? And so they'd go and get the poop knife from the laundry room and slice up their poop. I'm assuming that they washed it afterwards, but I love that it was a rusty kitchen knife, not just like a normal one. So he just thought this was a normal thing. So he says in his story, he said, I was 22 years old. It's been a day or two between poops, and I'm over at my friend's house. My friend was the local dealer and always had guests over because you can't buy weed without sitting on your ass and sampling it for an hour. I excuse myself and lay a gigantic turd. I look down and see that it's a sideways one, so I crack the door and call out for my friend. He arrives, and I ask him for his poop knife. His friend said, my what? And he said, your poop knife, I say. I need to use it, please. He said, what the fuck is a poop knife? And he said, obviously he has one, but maybe he calls it a more delicate name. A fecal cleaver, a dung divider. I explain what it is that I want and why I want it. And he starts giggling, and then everyone starts giggling, and then he realizes that only they had a poop knife. His family had this thing. So he like told his wife and stuff what the poop knife was, and he still had one in his household now. Like moved on, got married and stuff, had a poop knife in his household. Apparently his wife did not know that was the poop knife, and she like used it for opening boxes and stuff like that. Luckily not cooking, but still like opening boxes. But this seems like a really useful thing.
I'm proud of the fact that I take manly sized dumps.
Yeah.
I've never thought of chopping them up with. I remember my landlord one time was concerned that the toilet kept overflowing. And so he goes, hey, Mike, you're a big guy like me. You just have to make sure you hold down the lever enough to where it continually goes down, and it shouldn't be an issue. And since then, it hasn't been an issue. I think this gentleman could have avoided poop knife issues if he just would have held the lever longer so that the poop had more time to get out of the house.
Maybe it might have. I found on Amazon also that they sell poop knives. It's more of like a plastic little knife, but it just says the original poop knife. It's a real thing. It has a little poop emoji above it. Super cute. I honestly I don't think I've ever found the need for these. I mean, like, there's definitely been some poops that have clogged the toilets, but I don't know. I guess it might be useful. I'm interested in trying it.
I've never thought, to be perfectly honest with you, if I get one of those long circuit, like I'm in the middle of my crap, and what I really try to do is if I know this is a long one, I'm really trying to extend it because I don't want to break it, so I'm really working on it.
That could be like a record.
I don't want to cut that. That's a piece of art.
You take a picture first, send it to your friends. That's what I do.
Uh-huh.
And then
you've never sent me a picture of your poop.
You're not my friend.
Okay, all right. Again,
you're not that kind of friend.
Say nice things about Alex.
Not that
Anyways,
kind of friend.
I know, I'm
That
not a-
has to be like a very specific person. You're like, okay, Alex, I'm willing to see your poop, at least once a week.
I would be absolutely enthralled by seeing your poop.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe we'll just start posting them on our Facebook page.
You know the sad part
People
about
are
it is,
really
if this
like
was a
us.
poop-related show, it would be because that's how, like, everybody always comes up to me and talks about this show in the sense they say, Mike, your show is unique because it has no quote-unquote niche. Like, if we did a show about, hey, we're going to talk about, Major League Baseball, and we're going to talk about Caddyshack every week or whatever, then it would get more people because then fans of whatever genre, like, oh, they're going to do Trivia Pursuit podcast.
Yeah.
People would find it and it would have 50,000
So
likes.
we should do a poop podcast.
We could, and it would actually work because there would be so many poop enthusiasts that would sit there and say, oh, I really want to listen to more poop-themed, shows.
I mean, I always say that I'm from a poop family.
I know. I always say I'm from a shit family, but, it's not related to
mine
the
sounds
fecal
better,
matter. Yeah. So, yeah, get a shit knife. So make sure you get one of them. So works out. Boom. Win. Victory. Doing it. Coming up next. Is that the end of the segment?
Yes.
Okay, at the end of coming up next, we're going to have Nick Miller and Ashley Corts from Black Forge Coffee. They got a Kickstarter because they want a new place so they can perform music, comedy, hopefully more comedy. Hopefully, please do more comedy so that I can get paid more money and ultimately buy a nice poop knife. Again, it's the Mike Sasson Show. After this whole segment, we'll be back with them, and it's going to be super cool. See ya. Bye. We are back. It's the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. You're watching us on Facebook Live or Facebook or YouTube after the fact, or you're listening to us on several of the podcast formats, either iTunes, SoundCloud, or Google Play. Again, thank you very much. My name's Mike Sasson. Over there is Alex Clemens, super producer. And remember, if you want tickets to YinzFest, go and comment something nice about Alex. Make sure you have liked the Mike Sasson page, and we will leave these at the will call. Now remember, right now, the leader is any woman that will let Alex sign her boobs. That right now is the winner in the clubhouse. Now, if there's multiple boobs, ultimately there could be 2 tickets to one, 2 tickets to the other.
Who has the best?
Or, yeah. Again, she just objectifies women, and I'm against it. Anyway, but we have right here a close personal friend of mine, Nick Miller from Black Forge Coffee, and Ashley Corts, who is now going to become my close personal friend. Hi, buddy. So, again, you're from, Black Forge Coffee. If you've never been up to Allentown, which, to be honest with you, until your place was there, I had never been up to Allentown. And it was interesting because it's a part of the city that was kind of let go. People weren't exactly thinking to put anything there, but you put a coffee house and performance venue there, and I performed comedy on several occasions, sometimes in front of people, sometimes, and had a great time. And now, because apparently, like, the neighbors think it's too loud or something like that, there's a risk that the business is going to be hurt. So you're looking to buy a second place. Start from there. What's going on?
You're pretty much on the nail there. We've been doing performances and different events there for the past 3 years, including comedy shows that you've been on. But we are a metal coffee shop, so we have a lot of metal shows on a regular basis. So things with loud amps and drum sets, and we have neighbors that live above us. There's 2 apartments above us, and the one apartment that's directly above us, there's a bedroom right on top of our stage. Yeah, and they're not, the people that tend to live there aren't usually fans of our late night shows that we do on Fridays and Saturdays, and if we have a loud band, they can't sleep. So we get it. Our landlords aren't like kicking us out by any means, but if we can't continue to do shows, the extra amount of people that come in for the shows really kind of help us keep the doors open. So we start to see a big drop off in revenue, and then we might actually have to close our doors at that point.
And the thing is, you might be sitting there going, oh, guess what? One less coffee house in the world. Boo-hoo. But here's the thing. this coffee house is, I mean, it's a pillar of a community that needs, business and needs people driving, positive, things. And also it's a pillar of the arts community. So if you like supporting, again, the metal scene or the comedy scene, or, I mean, you have art, pictures hanging on the walls, all that kind of good stuff. This is a venue that ultimately helps people do that. So again, what you're doing is you're doing a Kickstarter.
Yes.
And right now, I just checked before the show, you're crushing it. You're absolutely crushing it. You wanted $30,000. You're at what, like 17,000 right now?
Yeah, we have 20 days left, I believe. It's been crazy the amount of support that we've gotten on this Kickstarter. Every single day we wake up and there's tons of messages of people supporting us, and we see our friends sharing it. And we even had some friends that reached out and they're helping put on a benefit show at Mr. Small's for us.
When is that going to happen?
Crazy. Actually, next Monday.
Yeah,
right?
Monday, July 2nd. Doors are at 6, and it's just like a bunch of our awesome friends and like people that have played Black Forge before. And it's going to be great. And a lot of our friends and other businesses have donated a bunch of stuff that we're going to auction off as well. And all that money is going to go straight into our Kickstarter so we can make this happen.
Now, where, Ashley, can they find tickets for that event?
It's just going to be at the door. We're not doing tickets. If you want to show up. That'd be great. It's just show up with some cash. There's an ATM downstairs if you want to. And it's going to be great. It's probably going to go till like 11 o'clock, and then we'll call off the auctions. And there's like beer and tattoo gift certificates and like other businesses that have like been to our shop or donating like food gift certificates and a bunch of other stuff too. So
now you actually have already eyed the place that you're looking to buy. It's in McKees Rocks.
Right.
And so again, another community that could, again, use art to be see, that's one thing that people forget is if you ever want to know what the next quote unquote Lawrenceville or the next, Millvale, the next hot community is going to be, find out where the artists are going. And so the fact that you're going to, begin, a process that could, again, has helped Allentown and then ultimately could help McKees Rocks with this. And this place is going to be, the goal is not only to provide great coffee and great food, but also provide great art for this community.
correct.
Yes.
Awesome.
And it's been there. As we met with the neighborhood and the CDC, it's always been kind of known as like an art and food centric community, and then it just kind of fell off. The population fell off, the small businesses fell off, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
And Hollywood's been there for years, and they've been doing music stuff all over the country. Yeah, that's a great space. And then there's a big theater that's on the verge of opening over there. And they have the CDC is really involved with the planning for that neighborhood. See, you know what? Somebody out there right now is like a real estate developer, and they're like, now let's buy some houses. Because that's sadly that's how it kind of works. But now, the venue and everything like that. When did the place open? Like 3 years ago? Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
3 years ago. It actually was the first venue for Burning Bridges Comedy Festival. I was on that first show and everything like that with John Dick Winters. But if people Google Black Forge Coffee, what will come up was
lots of things.
Is it like how long is it now? A year ago or a year and a half ago?
Just over a year, yeah.
Literally about over a year ago. It had to have started innocently. Just like, hey, let's do a punch card and let's, because obviously the current administration, there's a lot of people in the arts community that aren't a huge fan of it. Let's do punch cards where we put conservative people like Trump and Ann Coulter and all these people. And so every time you walk in and you get a coffee, boom, you put a punch in the middle of their forehead. Ha, ha, ha. Isn't this funny? How did it go from that to every major news organization on the planet essentially for about a week making you like the story about like the culture war?
Well, so what a lot of people don't know is we were doing the punch cards well before it actually hit the internet and went crazy. Honestly, the only thing I can think of is I pinpointed it to the original Facebook post.
Yeah,
and it was come in, buy a coffee, take out a scumbag.
Yep.
That quote.
Yep.
They just ran with that quote, and like within a few hours, I turned around and there was a man with an oversized sports jacket, and it was Fox. It wasn't Fox News, no, it was a local news. And I turned around and he was just like, "I want to talk to one of the owners. This is about the punch cards." It's like, "Well, here I am. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to know?"
And then you've been to our shop, so you know, like it's a little weird sometimes walking in. We have like big pentagrams everywhere, and ridiculous things. So
Yeah.
of course they zoom in on the pentagram while they're talking to Nick, and then they zoom in
So
on
you
our
hail Satan. That's what they were saying.
damn Satanists.
Satan. Yeah, the Satanists are against Trump. That's what happened here.
Pretty much.
Now, the full disclosure. When I saw that this punch card, I kind of just rolled my eyes. I kind of sat there and went, well,
It's whatever.
It's whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, but the thing that got me real riled up was, again, I've performed there and I've done comedy and everything. And I knew you, and I knew what you were trying to do with this community. The thing that got me kind of pissed off was, if you don't want to go to a coffee house, fine.
Right.
Go someplace else. That's
Exactly.
great. But then on Facebook, there were people from like overseas
Yes.
going on the Facebook, lying and saying that they had been to the coffee house, that it was the worst coffee in the history of the world, trying to drive down your star ratings,
Yeah.
which ultimately, I know it sounds stupid, but in the age of the internet, could
It
really
makes a
hurt your
difference.
business.
It really does.
And so I went on there, and I think everyone in Pittsburgh comedy went on there and sat there and went, no, this is a great place for coffee and for comedy and everything like that. And by the way, I checked your star ratings. I think it's like 4.5.
Yeah.
Which means you're the highest rated coffee shop, I think, in the tri-state area.
At the time, I think we surpassed UPMC with ratings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
At a certain point,
did. We did.
Like, there's 300 ratings for a place that, again, some of the thing that got me so mad was, like, there was someone from like Australia saying, I was in Pittsburgh visiting and I just happened to be in this coffee shop. And if you know where this coffee shop is, there's literally 0% chance that there's anybody that's just walking around the city of Pittsburgh, going up a giant hill, and oh, by the way, there's a coffee shop I
Right.
walked in. It's the worst coffee ever. And so motivated that they decided to basically say that this on Facebook, that, oh my God, this is the worst cup of coffee I've ever had in my life.
It got really intense there for a minute. After the first couple of days, Secret Service actually paid us a visit.
What is it like when the Secret Service show up?
It was terrifying.
I thought somebody was trying to kill me because we
Yeah.
had so many death threats. They showed up in plain clothing.
Yeah.
And they just said, "Is Nick Miller available?" And Ashley kind of kept her head down. And
I was hiding in the corner, just like,
as soon
Nope.
as they left, I was at the gym, and she called me and she's like, "Dude, there's 2 guys in baseball hats looking for you." And I was like, "Oh shit." We're fine. We're on the internet.
No. We're on the internet. We can
We're on
say
the
fuck
internet.
shit, anything you want.
looks
No, we're
like-
fine.
it just looks
But
like a radio
okay, now
station.
let me ask you. Okay, so all right, so I always find it funny when, like, cops or or trying to blend in.
Yeah.
So they were in like.
Oh no, they did the good cop, bad cop. There was like a guy that looked like your traditional bureaucrat, and then there was a dude with a full tattoo sleeve trying to be
Yeah.
the cool guy.
Okay.
And they were genuinely nice, and they were like, you're
They
within
were.
your First Amendment rights and all that stuff. But could you guys, I don't know, maybe put stickers on the cards and.
They legitimately said, "Hey, is
Yeah.
there things that you could possibly do?"
but
Yeah.
they didn't tell us that we had to stop doing what we're doing because it's.
Were they just trying to say, "Did you legitimately want to hurt the president?"
Yeah,
Yes.
that was it. They just want to make sure that we had zero intentions of trying to harm anybody.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And the sad part is due to all the death. Well, the funny part was due to all the death threats. I considered buying a gun the day before that.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
if I would have done that, it would have been on the record and in their records, and they probably would have been aware of that.
So
at that
if
point.
you would have done the conservative thing, which is buy a gun to protect yourself, it might have ultimately hurt you
Yes.
in the eyes of the government in this whole
Right.
thing.
Right. Yeah. It was pretty interesting. On your poop conversation that you had just
Yes.
before the segment, somebody actually mailed us poop.
Yeah. Somebody mailed us
Which
actual
typically happens
poop.
to us, and we view it as like a terms of endearment. But again, so someone had to take a crap, put it in a box, and send it to you.
No, they
envelope.
wiped it in the side of the envelope.
Okay.
Yeah. So they really got in there and just smeared that.
What was
right up
What
in
was
there.
the scariest outside of the Secret Service? What was the scariest moment?
Well, the unfortunate thing was, we had to shut off our phone at one point at the shop because it didn't stop. It just didn't stop ringing. And whenever I would pick up, it was a different story. If Nick picked up or our other employee, well, Matt wasn't working there then. It was just you.
Mm-hmm.
But, people were, it's like, I'm going to burn you alive. I'm going to watch you die inside of your coffee shop. Like, I'm going to rape you. I'm going to murder you. This is what people said to me over the phone because they were upset that we put the president on a punch card. So let's think about that.
No,
for a
I mean,
minute.
and again, I get people who sit there and say that, you know what, if a bar in Johnstown had Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton on a punch card, then then all of the liberals would be upset and they'd be the same way and all this kind of stuff. And I agree either way. If a business makes a decision that, hey, you know what, we're going to do this as a form of satire. Again, you've had comedy there, you have art, you have all of this kind of stuff. But what was the most, again, I just asked you the scariest moment. What was the most surreal moment? What was the moment where it's like, this legitimately is happening?
We would get contact. We got a contact from Switzerland. Somebody emailed us in support and was just like, hey, saw the news story. Just want to let you know we love what you're doing. Can we get a punch card? And it was like, Switzerland? Like, why are you aware of what we're doing? And then if you do Google us, it comes up on the New York Times, the LA Times. Like, it's all over with these articles. And that was when Reuters News contacted us and did a piece. It was like, why? Why do you care?
Why do you care
Now,
about
let me
this
ask
so
you
much?
this. How did it affect business?
Oh, it was immensely wonderful. Yeah, it was incredible.
I mean, it was terrifying every day because you never knew who was going to walk through that door, and we never had a single person that was like, fuck you, like in person. It was all over the internet. It was all phone calls. It was emails. We still have
a lot of empty threats.
Yeah, a lot of empty threats, and a lot of letters too. A lot of people wrote us positive letters, and a lot of people wrote us really awful letters.
Yeah.
I have a folder of them.
What do you say to someone who said, you know what, you should respect the office of the president and blah blah blah, and this is the fit, and then the fact that you were saying that these people any harm should come to these people, and what would you say to that person?
No.
Yeah, we didn't say anything to those. We're just like, it is what it is. We're in this right now, and you're not changing our views, and we're not stopping carrying the card. So we kept carrying them.
So can they still is that card still available?
So we don't have that card anymore because half those people are irrelevant now.
Okay.
So
he fired half of his cabinet.
Yeah. So now it's all the beautiful
I think
faces.
that might have been why he did it.
Yeah.
Funny story was like when that hit national news, he made this comment where he's just like something about like, I don't represent the people of another country. I represent the people like the people in Pittsburgh. And I mean, like, I'm not trying to be conceited, but I don't know if that was a slight against us or not. But.
Yeah. Well, like, by the fact of the matter is if he sits there and says, I think the quote, I don't represent the people of Paris, I represent the people of Pittsburgh.
That's what it was.
And someone sits there and like, and everyone was like, no, you actually lost Pittsburgh by a shit ton.
Yeah.
But
a lot.
Who knows? I mean, again, all I have to say is it's a performance art venue. I've performed there. These are good people. If something like that, if you disagree with that, that's fine. But I will tell you this, these people are doing good work. They're going to do it again in McKees Rocks. So if you want to support them, go on their Kickstarter. Again, where can they find the Kickstarter?
So there isn't like a direct link, but you can find it through all of our social media and on our website. The social media is Black Forge PGH, just at Black Forge PGH, or just blackforgecoffee.com.
Now, final question. What makes a great cup of coffee? What's the key to a great cup of coffee?
Darkness.
Evil. Evil makes it. Evil beans and evil water. This evil brew. I'll be honest with you, coffee is a weird beverage if you think about it. I'm not going to sound like Seinfeld. What's the deal with coffee? But like at some point, someone had to decide that, okay, let's pick up this bean. Then they ate it. They're like, this doesn't taste great. Then it's like, hey, let's grind it up. This isn't let's funnel it through water. No, let's make it scalding hot. There's so many steps that had to go until it was like, this is the beverage that every human being decides. I think it's honestly because A, it gets you up in the morning, and B, it makes you poop. Those are the two things.
Truth.
Now, by the way, because you're a coffee house, how are the bathrooms? That has to be
clean.
Yeah, we keep them real clean.
But
and it has the chalkboard stuff on there, so you can draw whatever you want. You can draw a bunch of poop if you want.
Draw a punch. Just keep
While
the
you're
poop
pooping.
off. Yeah, keep the poop off there. That's one of the critical aspects, I think, of any coffee shop. And in this new coffee shop, make sure you invest heavily in plumbing so you don't need a poop stick. That's what's critical.
No poop knives allowed.
No poop knives allowed. Absolutely. That'd have been funny if you had discarded the poop knives and then the Secret Service came. Well, what is all of these weapons? what is all of this?
It's
And you're
just
like,
poop
you're
knives,
holding my poop
man.
knife.
We did have a bunch of random medieval weapons just hanging
Yeah,
out
we
as
did.
decorations, but luckily
to-
they didn't take them seriously.
Yeah.
It was like obviously a Morning Star. We're not going to go after Trump with a Morning Star. Not going to get too close.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting way to do it. Anyways, again, find them on any of our social medias. Again, support. If you support the local arts, you support the ability. Because one of the things about any city's art scene, any city's comedy scene, any city's music scene is stage time. So anywhere you can get quality stage time makes the art scene better, and these guys are about that. And so thank you very much for coming in. We'll post everything like that on our social media and on the Mike Sasson Show page. So thank you very much, you guys, for coming in. And again, support the Kickstarter, because you're going to want to be a part of this. Your kids are going to ask you, hey, where were you during the great Black Forge Coffee Kickstarter?
Revolution.
Where were you part of the revolution? And if you sat there and you went, I passed by it, said, that's a good idea. I hope someone else donates $10. Guess what you're gonna feel like when you're gonna feel like poop. It's gonna be terrible. And now you have your chance. Boom, win, victory. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so
thanks,
much.
Mike.
Thank you. Again, it's the Mike Sasson Show. We're going to be coming back with fresh eyes. We're going to be looking at James Corden and Paul McCartney, the video that's taking the world by storm. And I'm going to tell you what I think about it. I'll be honest with you, I'm torn. Not about coffee, though. I love me some coffee and some long dumps. My name's Mike Sasson. We'll be right back.
Come on, go. It's green. Come on. Go.
God damn it, Brian. You need to calm down
I'm
with the road
sick of
rage.
these people, these assholes.
The road rage, man. You got to calm down on the road rage.
Well, I want to get to where we're going. We have a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to Falling Water,
Bicycle heaven.
the Mattress Factory,
Tuck knob.
Trundle Manor. All right, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Come on,
right,
come on.
right.
Too late now.
Right, come on.
Well, too late now. I got to keep going. I'm not going to sit here like some asshole.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, you're listening to the Culture Cruise. You can find us at riversedgepgh.com.
Your local Pittsburgh area museum podcast.
Yes, riversedgepgh.com, and come take a ride with us.
You are listening to The River's Edge on www.riversedgepgh.com, or you're watching us on Facebook Live, or after the fact on Facebook or on YouTube, or you are listening to us on TuneIn Radio across the planet Earth. Make sure you listen to The River's Edge on your smart speakers. Just say, hey, I want to listen to The River's Edge Pittsburgh on TuneIn Radio, and you can. Also, you might be listening to us on any of the podcast formats, iTunes, SoundCloud, or Google Play. Thanks again for Nick and Ashley from Black Forge Coffee. Again, no matter what you think about in terms of politics or anything like that, they're doing good for communities that need them, and they're also producing great art. So again, go to their Kickstarter and donate so that they can produce another great arts venue for the city of Pittsburgh. But right now, again, there's so many things to remind people of, Alex. This is when you need a professional broadcaster like me. This is where it shines away. YinzFest, June 30th at Mr. Small's Theater. Right now, we got 4 tickets. How do you get them? You post something nice about Alex on the bottom comments, and you are entered into, if you are a person who has liked the Mike Sasson Show page, into a possibility for getting 4 tickets. And remember, any woman that will let Alex sign her boobs, I honestly think you have the inside track to getting some of these tickets. But right now, we're going to be doing Fresh Eyes. That's a segment. Let's play the song. This is a very special Fresh Eyes. Normally I have Alex, who is considerably younger than me, watch videos from a different era. This is the first time that I've had Alex watch a video that is currently kind of in the moment. And that is absolutely how I would describe this next video that we had Alex watch, and I watched as well. It's James Corden did his Carpool Karaoke, his segment that he does on his show on CBS, with maybe the most famous performer right now on the planet Earth, Paul McCartney. And it was a very unique Carpool Karaoke because he had Paul McCartney travel through his hometown of Liverpool, England, and they actually went to Penny Lane, and they went to his home, which, Alex, it seems to me that they turned it into a museum.
Yeah, we were trying to figure that out while we were watching it, because I watched it with my family, and we were like, is this a museum, or is this person just really crazy and keeps all of this stuff here?
But it doesn't seem like there's I don't know. He lived in a very modest row house. I mean, I've done some research about the Beatles, not before this segment, but just in general, because I saw this documentary that I really recommend if anyone's a Beatle fan. I hope it's still available on Netflix. It's called How the Beatles Changed the World.
Yeah.
And one of the points that they made is that Paul McCartney and George Harrison, who were close when they were growing up, were really middle class.
Yeah.
Like, they were not affluent at all, and it's one of the things that made the Beatles so beloved in England, especially amongst the working classes. It was these kids from a working class neighborhood that rose to just beyond superstardom.
Right, yeah.
And the thing that I got from one of the video, the looking at the video, is how immensely proud Liverpungans, or whatever you would call Liverpolians or whatever, are proud of the Beatles and Paul McCartney.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Because they know that anywhere they go in the world, if they say, hey, I'm from Liverpool, England, they know that someone's going to say something about the Beatles.
Yeah.
And they know that's positive. It's very I said this to my brother when I watched it. I go, Paul McCartney is almost like if everyone from the Steelers of the 70s was one person, and all of the adulation that Mean Joe Green and Terry Bradshaw and Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris and all these guys from the Steelers in the 70s, all of that love went to one person. And that's really what in Liverpool, what Paul McCartney gets. Now, watching this, I'm torn.
Why?
On one hand, it was an incredible journey through really the guy who helped write the songbook of the second half of the 20th century.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, but the man's 76 years old. You need to talk to this guy about how things went down, because in the future, there will be people who want to study what happened and how this happened with the Beatles, and the fact that there is video of him talking and saying, okay, this is how this song came to be, this is how this thing came to be, is an important part of history.
Yeah.
And the fact that he did that was cool. On the other hand, I really just despise how James Corden passes this as comedy or anything. It's an interview, I get it, but you could have done a lot more interviewing and a lot more if it wasn't for James Corden edited in that he cried when they played Let It Be. And I'm just like, you were with Paul McCartney for 6 hours.
Yeah.
You put that in for a reason.
Yeah.
You could have easily taken that out and maybe got more insight into the man, but you know how that made you look. And so, again, I despise the fact that things like carpool karaoke, or how Jimmy Fallon, like earlier this, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, went with Christina Aguilera down to the subway and they played music and everyone's like, ooh, we were in disguise so no one knew it was us. And I'm just like, in no way is this comedy. This is supposed to be a comedy show. It's not, necessarily that funny. I mean, Paul McCartney's interesting, but again, I'm torn, because I just think it kind of builds into the whole celebrity ass-kissing society that late night talk shows have become.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, I don't agree with you really at all. Like, I mean,
that was the
yes.
nicest way you could have just said, Mike, I completely disagree with everything you just said.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, they're supposed to be comedy shows, but they're also just like talk shows and feel-good shows, and that's what they're doing. Like, it's just a simple segment that's like, oh, these people are having fun and they're doing something fun, and you can watch it and not think about anything and like sing along. It's just a fun thing to do. It doesn't have to be necessarily the most hilarious thing in the world just because it's
I don't
a late
even mean
night
it's
show.
hilarious. I mean, parts of it were very interesting, and I feel that in the hands of a more talented individual, it could have been way more interesting. But the fact is that they had to have a segment where he put on the outfits of the Beatles guys, and they had to.
I thought that was hilarious. I like that.
You
part.
really thought that was hilarious?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot better than a lot of things that comedians do a lot of the times. Like I said, I think it's just a feel good thing. It's a thing to turn your brain off and not think about anything and just have fun. And you get to watch someone that you get to learn about them, and you get to hear them sing their songs. And it's like a very personal thing into, these celebrities' lives, and that's what people want to watch. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that people want to watch celebrities. And have fun with them.
I have no problem with people watching celebrities. My problem is then when, at least what a talk show used to be, was, again, you had to talk. That's what carpool karaoke kind of invented, and that's why publicists love it, is, oh, my celebrity now really doesn't have to talk much because all they have to do is just sing songs. James Corden will make them look good because you're not going to actually have to say anything. You'll just have to sing songs. Whereas I think that if James Corden really drove with them, and again, you could sing the songs and then go, okay, talk about this song. Instead of getting only 2 or 3 songs, maybe he could have gotten 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And that was my thing. I mean, get into other tunes and say, okay, he talked about the church. I would have loved him to walk into the church. But again, that wasn't part of we can't just walk into the church. But to me, that would have been more interesting. That's the church my brother was born in. Okay, walk into the church.
Yeah.
And then, but again,
It's not what type of show it is. And then
I understand, and that's why I'm not a huge
you.
fan of his show.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan of Paul McCartney, and that's what made this segment very, very interesting. What was the most interesting act in your mind of the show, of the segment?
I really liked the ending where they did the concert. I thought that was a lot of fun. And it was just kind of I personally liked it because I'm sure that you thought of it as celebrity ass kissing, but James Corden was just you could tell that he's a huge fan. It was just basically him living out his dreams, which he gets to do because he's a talk show host and he could do those types of things. But for everyone who is I know that obviously most of it was probably scripted and these people knew that they were actually going to be at this show, but I think it was still a lot of fun for these people, and they had the people running in and oh my God, we're so excited that Paul McCartney's here, and him just doing kind of a fun show. And I'm sure that's a lot different than most of the concerts that he gets to do. It was just kind of hey, let's do whatever, let's have fun, and
Well, and to me, I find that the least interesting part of the segment. The most interesting part of the segment to me was when he talked about, I had this dream.
Yeah,
my
I did
mother,
definitely like that part,
was
yeah.
the part where it's okay, that because a lot of people when he hears Mother Mary comes to me speaking words of wisdom, he thought, he means the Virgin Mary,
right.
Religious. No, he meant his mom. His mom actually came in and said, "Let it be." And to me, that's if I had Paul McCartney in front of me, those are the kind of questions I'd ask. Is buddy, what was it like in 1970, 1971? You're only 31, 30 years old.
Right.
And this aspect of your life is over. There's no guarantee. Now, granted, you got more money than you could possibly spend, but there's no guarantee what's going to happen to you in the future.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was it? Why did you give it up? What was the, how would you give this up? How close have you ever been to coming back to it? Because people had to have in the 1970s offered him tons of money for one show or 2 shows or something like that. And you never went back to this entity. Do you feel bad that your friend dying in 1980 pretty much ended something that maybe you would have done it 2 years later? Who knows?
Right.
And to me, those are the kind of things, because no one, just having Paul McCartney play Beatles tunes, yes, that's fun, but we could see Paul McCartney play Beatles tunes all over the place. My thing is, you got the man right now in his hometown.
Yeah.
Take him to his school. Take him to his, where his mom is buried. Take him to whatever. Because to me, that's where you figure out the man, as opposed to putting on funny outfits and saying, aren't I a Beatle?
I did definitely like him going to his old house and how he was in the bathroom, this is where I used to play guitar and stuff. Because that's a lot of things that you don't ever get to hear, but still fun things.
I agree. It's still fun things. And overall, I would say that it was an incredible 20 minutes of, entertainment. I just think that it could have been, if I'm coaching up James Corden, that could have been better.
A different segment or a different show or a documentary or something, it definitely could have been a lot different. But I think that this is the segment that it is, and it fit into that. I think that obviously probably James Corden probably wanted to do it differently too. I'm sure that he probably wanted to talk to him more about those things, and probably did, and they cut a lot of it out, But yeah, I think for this segment, they did it really well. But yeah, definitely I would have liked to know more about the songs and stuff, because I don't think a lot of people know those things. Unless you've read every book about the Beatles, and even then I feel like you don't know those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing about the Beatles that you have to admit is the fact that it's gone beyond just music history, and it's now part of world history, Western civilization.
Right, yeah.
And again, the man's 76 years old. The more chances we get to have real conversations with the man so that we can figure out how this happened, so that ultimately we figure out, because again, the most amazing thing about the Beatles and why they're one of the most incredible entities ever, is in 1964, they were one thing. 5 years later, they were the 64 Beatles and the 69 Beatles were a completely different band.
Yeah.
I cannot think of a band in history that was that different.
That's what I always talk about, like with my mom too. She loves the Beatles, and it's always like they have like a different song for every person. Like it's really hard when people are like, oh, I don't like the Beatles. I'm like, how do you not like how is there no portion of their music that you can relate to and like? Like I feel like most people who say they don't like the Beatles are really just saying that because everyone likes the Beatles.
Yes, it is. I did have a phase in my life because my mom really likes the Beatles where I was like kind of like, oh, they're not that great, shut up. But again, as you grow older and you start listening, especially, and again, I get that proves what type of person you are. The later stuff, the Let It Be, kind of Sgt. Pepper's type stuff. But even as an artist, if you listen, I mean, again, bands that I love, you look at Guns N' Roses or you look at Metallica, they're essentially the same band, but a lot older.
Right.
You look at even Justin Timberlake. Is he a lot different? Yeah, but he's pretty much been this Justin Timberlake for about 10, 15 years now.
And that's the thing, like they didn't have their whole lives to go and change those things. Like they did it in such a short amount of time, to go from one extreme to the other kind of, in such a short amount of time. And most bands, like you said, don't do that in their whole lives.
And the balls to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there had to be someone who's just like, you realize you're going to alienate so much of your fans if you start doing this or you start talking about this or whatever. And, I mean, for them to sit there and start talking about the war and for them to they could have shut their mouths.
Right.
They could have, and still made money. But the funny thing is, for any artist, that's what ultimately makes you great, is when you're willing to go to a place to where you're scared, your public might not want to go, but you take them there, and then ultimately then they say, oh, wow, what an incredible journey you just took me on. And that's when you become more than just music. You become, because really the Beatles grew up. If you were in 1964, you were a 14-year-old, you were this. By the time you were 20 years old, you were completely different, and so was the band that you grew up with.
Exactly, yeah. And I think as long as you like stick to your true self, like they were very genuine throughout it all. It's not like they were trying to be something different than who they were personally. Like they were going, like you said, how they grew up and how they were changing in their own lives and putting it into their music.
And the one thing that just really I respect as an artist and something that I try to emulate a little bit is the reason why they were that damn good is for about 4 years before anyone had heard of them, they played every dive. Yeah. They played, 4 times a night. They were playing late into the night. They were hard working, blue collar, rock and roll. They put the time in, and when it was their turn, they were more than ready.
Yeah, exactly.
This wasn't a put together band. These were four kids from the same town, and they took the world on by storm because they were just that damn good. And I always have this joke that they were from kind of like the Pittsburgh of England, and when they went to London, they were rejected by a good number of record companies.
Yeah.
Which means there are people who had to call themselves record executives who turned down the Beatles.
Yeah.
And I always found that fun. Anytime any club owner doesn't book me, anytime a person doesn't give me an opportunity, I always think, Mike, remember, there was a record company executive who turned down the Beatles.
They should have to put that on their wall or something so that people don't book them anymore. Like, oh, I turned down the Beatles.
I believe
that's on my resume now.
Well, I always find that funny because I remember my high school football coach was a man named Joe Nonchek, and he coached at Pitt back in the late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
When Pitt was one of, if not the best college football program in the country.
Yeah.
And I talked to him about recruiting one time, and I said, Coach, when can you think of kids that you turned down that eventually became amazing players? He goes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I go, well, what was wrong? He just goes, well, it could be a lot of reasons, but mostly just you have to admit sometimes You were just wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes you didn't see it and it was there and you just have to admit, sorry, I was wrong.
Right.
Well, guess what? For somebody has to admit somebody was wrong. You know who's not wrong? Alex and me for doing this show. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was fresh eyes. So again, if you want 4 tickets to YinzFest, they're right here. I'm not lying. This is what they are. Again, say something nice about Alex and make sure you're liking the show. Also, making sure you like the show as you like this segment. News and notes from the world of gossip, entertainment, and all sorts of weird stuff. Play the song, Alex.
It all starts now.
First story, very interesting story, and I saw this today. Alex, guess what place in the country statistically has the highest level of psychopaths?
In the country, you said?
In the country. That's not the largest number. That'd be easy. That'd be like New York City, LA, whatever. What area of the country per capita has the highest level of psychos?
I really don't know. That's
Washington,
so
D.C.
Uh-oh.
Highest level
That's a
of psychopaths.
Good place for them to be.
Good place for them to be. Washington, D.C. There was a new report by a psychiatrist who interviewed something like 3,000 different people in 3,000 different hospitals and found that per capita, the District of Columbia has the most people. Now, remember, psychopaths don't necessarily mean that you're like a crazy, stabby kind of guy.
Right.
It just essentially means that you have no empathy. You just do whatever you want, which you'd think about it. If you're a politician or you're a lobbyist and, you're the lobbyist for the tobacco industry in Washington, D.C., you're a psychopath. You know that you're doing horrible work, but you don't care because you're getting paid a ton of money.
Have you ever taken one of those tests to determine how much of a psychopath you are?
Like online or something?
Yeah, we had to do one in one of my psychology classes.
And what did it come back?
I don't think I was very much a psychopath. I think I was pretty low on that scale.
I would sit there and say that I'm very hot. I'm a very empathetic person. So I would say I'm not close to a psychopath. I have met people that are kind of, you think I'm a psychopath? No, I think I'm the kind of
I think
awesome.
you'd maybe be closer than me. But.
Oh, I think you might be a little bit closer in terms of psychopath than me. I think you never feel bad. You never feel bad about saying bad things about me. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't think that makes me a psychopath overall, though.
Okay, I think it does. Anyways, other areas. The second place was Connecticut, which I believe because, again, they actually did a study and they compared arch criminals and great businessmen.
Yeah.
And they actually psychologically were almost like 99% the same person.
That makes sense.
Because to be a great businessman, you kind of have to have no feelings about, taking advantage or all that other kind of good stuff. So other places, California, New Jersey, again, place with extra wealth. And on the other end of the spectrum, the 5 least psychopathic states, West Virginia, Vermont, Tennessee, North Carolina, and New Mexico.
Damn, where do we fall in this list?
Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
I would say that we're just moderately psychos.
Just in the middle, yeah.
We're just in the middle of psychos.
Not too much, not too little.
There you go.
We're just the right amount of psycho.
We're just come to Pennsylvania. We're just the right amount of psycho.
That should be on like our signs when you come into Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we have a dumb one, the Keystone State, or You Have a Friend. Remember that one?
Yeah.
I don't know. State of Independence. That was another dumb one.
Yeah, that's like Buffalo. It's something like America's favorite city. Like what? Who decided that Buffalo was America's favorite city?
That's a complete lie.
Yeah.
They always say the world's favorite city is San Francisco. That was, I remember, at Candlestick Park.
But no, Buffalo's America's favorite city. Like, no, it's not.
New York would just be like, we don't give a fuck what you think.
Yes.
That's what it would be. And then California, Los Angeles would be like, yeah, everything sucks, but it's warm.
But we're better than you.
Yeah, it's just, everything sucks, but we're warm. That's the thing about, you talk to anybody in California, you're like, traffic sucks. Like, it's really high crime. I'm like, it takes $1 trillion to live there. But it's in January, it's 72 degrees.
Yeah.
Everything
so we're going to keep living.
Everything switches to when it's warm in January. Speaking of being warm in January, right now, people are going into swimming pools and enjoying swimming in the hot sun. But the CDC has come out that basically says that swimming pools are vats of bacteria for one reason and one reason only: diarrhea. What's happening is people go in there, they have diarrhea, Then, all of a sudden that bacteria gets into the pool and kids get sick. They actually have like statistics that say there's been like a bunch of deaths and all this other kind of stuff because of swimming pools and diarrhea.
I mean, but like, how long have swimming pools been a thing? I feel like this isn't gonna change anything.
Would it be better if people swam in lakes? You've swum in a lake, right?
Yeah, I love swimming in lakes.
Compare swimming in a lake to swimming in a pool.
Well, it depends. I don't very much like public pools.
Okay.
Because I don't like Band-Aids.
Lots of Band-Aids.
Yeah, and it freaks me out. I don't even like talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I guess people's private pools is nice, but I like swimming in lakes. It's more freeing, you know? And you get like little things nipping at your feet sometimes, and you're like, oh, what is that? Is it a sea monster? Is it a fish? I don't know. Or is that diarrhea? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I typically don't swim in lakes at night.
Because then that's like Jason in Friday the 13th. That's how you get killed.
There's that
and having sex. You ever watch those Friday the 13th? It's like the girl has sex. That girl's getting killed.
There's that one movie, Lady in the Water, where I've never even seen the movie, but there's like a preview and she's coming up from the pool, and like I remember
is it any water or just like certain types of water?
I don't know. I've never seen the movie.
I never want to see it, so.
But so I remember being at Deep Creek Lake, and I would sit out on our dock at night, and I would not put my feet anywhere near the water because I'd be afraid someone would like grab me and pull me in, that's never happening.
Every time I swim, especially when it's like in a hotel swimming pool, I always go, ooh, cool, there's a pool. And then you go walking in, and then you dive into the pool, and then you swim around for a little bit, and then you just kind of get bored because you're just like,
what am I doing here?
Like, oh, I'm just a pool.
Yeah,
then you go jump into the hot tub, which is never hot enough to like really get you. And then what happens is what I really like doing is then you're in the hot tub, and then you quick jump into the pool, and that's when you go, and then you.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I just want to see you at the pool making that noise.
Son of a bitch. That's what I would do. The worst part about the swimming pool experience for me was one time I was like in the swimming pool, and I was like going out of the like they had the ladder.
Yeah.
So I was using the ladder, and I pushed down on one of the ladders, and I broke the ladder. And everyone just looked at me and like, fat ass. And it was always just one of those moments like, someone broke this ladder. Guess I'll go over there. That was the other thing that happened.
So one of my favorite things about my mom, since she's watching right now, is every time she gets into water, like if she's going into a pool, she'll walk down the steps very, very slowly. And once she's about to put like her whole like bottom half of her body in, she screams at the top of her lungs. And it's always like the same scream, and it's hilarious. And that's the way that she like deals with, going into the cool water. It helps. Makes it easier.
I'm always just jump right into the deep end.
Yeah, see, but like what if you don't want to get your hair wet? That's a big problem for me.
Is that a big problem?
It's a big problem. Yeah, if you wash your hair once a week, it's a big problem to get your hair wet.
See, I'm big. I'm just jumping in the water and just
because you ain't gotta care about your hair. You know, it's gonna be the same either way.
It's amazing hair. Look at it. Feel it, want it, do it. Anyways, moving on. Burger King in Russia got in a little bit of trouble. They're in the World Cup right now. Well, Russia is hosting the World Cup. And Russia, there was a big story a couple weeks ago. I didn't get to it, but one of the Russian ministers, this old bag, said that, hey, Russian women, don't have sex with people visiting here, because in the 1980 Olympics, a bunch of Russian women got laid from other dudes coming out, and they all had kids, and the guys left, and that wasn't good.
But
so
they
don't
had
do
Olympic
it.
babies?
Yeah. Well, they weren't like necessarily Olympic babies.
Sorry,
they were
World
just
Cup
like
babies?
Well, yeah, they were Well, that's the whole point. They were Olympic babies, but they were no dads, so then that was a bad thing. So now Burger King said, hey, any woman out there in Russia that can get pregnant by a World Cup player, will give you a lifetime supply of Burger King and a cash prize. And everyone went, you're doing what? And they're like, oh,
why though? I don't get it.
Because it's Burger King in Russia and they're just crazy.
So they want them to not have dads?
Apparently Burger King was like, we'll feed your kid. We'll feed you if you can get Ronaldo's baby.
So there's just going to be a bunch of obese children without any dads in Russia.
Basically, but they'd be sons and daughters of World Cup players, so you'd think that they'd be able to run off all those whoppers.
No. Without their dads teaching them. I don't know. How
Are
much
you
of that?
intrinsically like?
Yeah, how much of that is really genetic?
Now you're talking about like that's the movie Creed, where he tries to prove that he's Apollo Creed's son when Apollo Creed died by the hands of Ivan Drago.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, exactly. You were thinking of the movie Creed, which
Yeah.
Creed 2 is coming out later this year. Oh my God. You were just like your mom going into a swimming pool. But yeah, everyone got pissed off and said, how dare you give women free whoppers if they get knocked up by World Cup players? Which you obviously are going to get better stuff because World Cup players are typically like rich soccer people. And then you're getting that big time alimony child support stuff.
Just imagine being a worker at one of these Burger Kings and they announce this and they're like, what the fuck? Like, people are going to be coming in here trying to show me like their pregnancy tests and like paternity tests and stuff.
But it would have to come in with the dude.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. Imagine like the people,
logistics of the situation is a little bad.
Yeah, the people who decided this did not really think about what their employees would have to go through.
Do you know they actually did think about it? Because we're in America and we're talking about Burger King and Russia's marketing. So again, win for Burger King Russia.
Yeah, but they didn't think about like day-to-day basis. How is this going to go?
Yes.
How are people going to actually do this?
Yes. But I would sit there and say, personally, I think it's a great idea. Also, something else that came to me. Early on in the show, there's just a ton of stories about like silly, dumb millennials and all that kind of stuff. And someone came out earlier with, it said, are millennials stupid or whatever like that?
No.
And so this person came out with a list, some cooking thing. They interviewed a bunch of people from different levels of their life. And they eventually came out that millennials don't know how to cook. This is their percentage that they talked about. 21% of millennials say they don't know how to cook a fried egg.
Okay.
Would you say as a millennial you know how to cook a fried egg?
I do indeed.
How much of your friends do you feel know how to cook a fried egg?
I don't typically talk about that with my friends.
These are the kind of things I think you need to talk
can
about.
Can you fry me an egg right now? I need to know if you know how to do this. I would say most of my friends, though. I've never met anyone who doesn't know how.
28% say they don't know how to cook an omelet.
I do know. I was taught in 7th or 8th grade home ec how to make an omelet.
See, I think this might be the problem. It's not about millennials. It's been cutting school funding for home ec.
That is it.
There you go. Other ones, 22% don't know how to cook a cheeseburger.
What?
Even the ones that work at McDonald's and stuff. I don't know. 60% don't know how to cook a fried chicken. To me, I think that's kind of weird because I kind of know.
That's like a lot.
Yeah, like I know you put it in batter and stuff like that. You fry it up, but I couldn't guarantee you that I know how to do a fried chicken.
Yeah, like a legitimate fried chicken. I don't think it'd be very good.
50% say they don't know how to cook a roast chicken. Again, I would just throw it in the oven, throw some salt and pepper on it.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
That's roasted.
30% don't know how to cook spaghetti and meatballs. Okay, that's pretty dumb.
Ridiculous.
That's dumb. You don't know how to cook.
You said 37%?
37% of millennials. 1 out of 3 millennials. Almost
Who the
40%.
fuck are you asking this?
Millennials are saying, do you know how to cook spaghetti and meatballs? And they're like,
That's
I don't know.
absurd.
I'm looking on my phone. That's what they say.
That's absurd.
I know.
Literally on the back of the package of pasta.
50% don't know how to cook a ribeye steak.
Okay, that's more understandable. Maybe they just don't know how to cook it well.
Okay. 51% say they don't know how to cook a salmon.
That's okay.
All right. 28% don't know how to cook mashed potatoes. 25% don't know how to cook broccoli. 22% don't know how to cook rice without a rice cooker, which is stupid. That's why rice cookers exist. Why would you need to do it any
I've
other way?
never even used a rice cooker.
I honestly didn't even know it existed until this list. 34% don't know how to cook garlic bread, and 60% don't know how to make a birthday cake from not from a mix. Which,
okay,
I'll be honest.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I
How
don't know
many
either.
adults know how to do that?
Yeah, okay. Eggs, sugar, flour in some form. But that doesn't mean I know how to cook it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mess up. Baking is so hard for me, and I don't know why.
Here's my thing. Okay, I'm going to talk about it. I think if anyone says I don't know how to cook, really what you're saying is I don't know how to follow directions.
Right, exactly. But baking is a different. Baking is a little bit more difficult, especially when you're rising bread and things like that. That's hard because there's very specific things. You have to do it a very specific way. Even if you follow directions to the T, it can still turn out like shit. Mm-hmm. Regular cooking, it's really not going to turn out like that much shit unless you really fuck something up. You know? I feel like most of these people might know how to do those things, but wouldn't say that they know how to do them well, so they'd be like, oh, no, I don't know how to do that.
I would say most were just assuming this guy wanted him to make it, so they were just like, no, I don't know how to do it.
That's it.
They were like, oh, can you make me a burger? No, leave me alone. Get
Yeah,
away from me, you
see,
scary son of a
like
bitch.
people are always like, "Oh, do you know already like to cook?" And I'm like I know how to cook ish, but like I'm not good at cooking. I don't want
I
to
would
serve
say
other
I know
people
how
my
to
food.
cook because I know how to cook what I like to eat.
Yeah, I know how to cook for myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to serve other people food. It's like that's too much pressure, and also typically like to my liking, I like to overcook most things.
There you go. Moving on. Alec Baldwin apparently is trying to send out a little bit of I would say, somewhat of a flare of joy and happiness. We're talking about earlier with Nick and the guys from Black Forge about maybe getting together and trying to, build a bridge over the divide between liberals and conservatives. So Alec Baldwin tweeted out, says, "Dear Melania, we know what you're thinking. We know what you're feeling. You are quaking with anticipation, shuddering with a strange newfound courage. Come over to the light. We will welcome you as a hero in ways you've never imagined possible, and then do SNL with me. Sincerely, Alec." I personally believe, my prediction, Melania Trump in the fall will appear on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that's it. I feel like if Alec Baldwin asks you,
Yeah.
it seems pretty legit.
But here's my thing. The only reason they'll do it is because Trump loves publicity.
Yeah.
Trump loves publicity, and if there's a chance that this could be big ratings, because he always loves ratings, and this would be big ratings, he'd love the fact that Melania does the Trump thing, does SNL, it becomes big ratings, and then he claims again the big ratings are with me. That's the thing. Trump doesn't care about anything but how many people cared about it. Like, he doesn't care. He's almost like a professional wrestler at this point who knows that if he walks into an arena and everyone boos him, he doesn't care because all eyes are on him.
Right.
That's where he's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a millennial concept.
Some people say that Trump is the first millennial president. That he's the first president that ultimately really...
Except that no millennials like him.
Yeah, but in terms of his attitude and in terms of the way he deals with social media, he's the first millennial president.
Also, in this picture, Alec Baldwin is not looking good.
No, he doesn't look...
He's looking like pale and old.
Yeah, I don't think he looks good.
Sorry, Alec Baldwin, you're supposed to be beautiful.
Yeah, someone else who I feel bad for is this dad from New Jersey. Have you ever been part of a gender reveal?
Oh, yeah, they're pretty... No, I've never actually... Well, technically, I've been to one.
Okay. What do you mean technically you've been to one?
One of my cousins did it at their wedding.
Yeesh.
No, it was really cute and adorable.
Okay, but
everyone knew that they were pregnant.
Okay, so it wasn't like that.
It was a gender reveal, not we're having a baby.
Okay, so they already knew that the woman was carrying, and this is how they're going to do it.
Yeah,
how did they do it?
It was really, they're both science teachers. So they did a little science experiment where they mixed multiple different things together to have the liquid turn a certain color.
What did it turn?
Blue. It was a boy. The baby's born now and stuff.
Yeah, the baby did the experiment with him.
Yeah.
They were trying to figure out what gender it was 10 years in. Anyway, so this guy in New Jersey, he's apparently a football fan, so they had it to where he was going to kick a football, and then when the football was kicked, it would blow up to some color, and that's what would happen. But as you can see in the picture, the guy's carrying a beer. He doesn't look like he's the most athletic dude in the world, and it showed because when he kicked, he slipped and broke his ankle.
Oh.
Here's my thing. Now for the rest of his life, every time he looks at his daughter, it was a girl. Every time he looks at his daughter, he's just going to think about the pain of his broken ankle.
So the thing did explode, it went fine. It's just that he broke his leg.
It was one of those things where he kicked the top of it and things happened, but then all of a sudden no one cared because his ankle was dislocated. So gender reveal, my brother did it, he opened up a cake or all this kind of stuff. It's different than when my mom and dad, I think legitimately until the last two, didn't know the gender until the baby popped out.
That's how my parents were. They because we were just talking about this the other day. My mom said, sonograms weren't really a thing back in the day unless there was a problem. So you're not really it's not like today you get a sonogram every couple months. I don't know how it works. Really often. Mm-hmm. But they didn't do them that much. And even my sister, who my mom had a lot of complications and stuff with her, and they had to do a sonogram. my mom was just like in the hospital for so long. She's like, just tell me what the baby is. And they couldn't even tell her because it was in like the wrong position. So it was like they couldn't even really tell you for the most part. And my parents didn't want to know. They had 2 names picked out for both of us. Well, just one for me because, you know.
It was going to be Alex either way.
Alex either way.
There you go. That's how it works.
I was just meant to be Alex.
It was just meant to be Alex. Anyway, so the last story of today is we're talking about badasses.
Like me.
Yeah, like Alex. Again, call her a badass. That could help you get these 4 tickets.
Definitely.
This guy is a true badass. Ben Lacomiti. I don't want to learn his name. Anyways, he's doing something that I couldn't believe he actually is attempting. He's going to try to swim from Tokyo to San Francisco. That means he's going to swim the Pacific Ocean.
That's hella far.
That's up. It's over 5,000 miles.
Not all at once, because that's impossible.
What he's going to do is he's going to swim like 30 miles a day.
And then get on a boat.
And get on a boat and sleep and eat and shit like that. And then afterwards, he's going to find a GPS. He's going to GPS exactly where he stopped and then drop him off at exact that moment and do it again. He says it'll take 180 days.
Holy shit.
So that means he's going to be out there. Think about all the storms, all of the terrible things. But the whole point he's doing it for is to bring, because he's going to have like test tubes of the water. Speaking of like diarrhea in the pools, he's going to do the test tubes of the water because of all of the plastics being dumped in the water. He wants to actually figure out the level of plastics in the water throughout the Pacific Ocean to bring like emphasis on the pollution in the water in the Pacific Ocean.
Okay, that's a cool way to do it.
So again, yeah, total badass. Even trying. That sounds so tiring.
Yeah, that's just exhausting.
And he can't like quit. Like
I literally can't swim from like one half of a pole to the other half of the pole without being like, okay, let me take a break.
I'm an incredible swimmer for my size.
Are you?
For my size. I mean, I'm not Michael Phelps or anything like that, but for a chubby, hairy guy, I can move.
I'm a terrible swimmer. I
Really?
still have to hold my nose. Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. I told you I was on the swim team by accident in Texas.
No, I don't think I've ever.
Okay, well,
I only hear that you play football.
Okay, so I moved from Pittsburgh to Midland, Texas when I'm in 3rd grade. And, you know, that's the age you're taking swimming lessons. So my mom, moving into this new town, asked around because they's like, oh, I got to get, swimming lessons for my kids. And so one of the Texas moms went, oh, you got to go down to this building and you can sign them up for swimming lessons. So she does. And we go into this facility, which was beautiful. It was like like a big, giant swimming pool, like indoor, like Olympic-sized thing with like seating and stuff like that. We're like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so this guy comes up to him and goes, oh, you're here to learn to swim. And I'm like, oh, I guess so. And I show up and all the kids are in like Speedos and swim caps and like have goggles and stuff. And I'm just like some chubby kid with Pittsburgh Pirates like shorts on and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, we're doing swim lessons. And the guy's like, get in the pool. And we're like, okay, whatever. And I had done swimming lessons a little bit. And so all of a sudden we start doing laps and stuff like that. My mom unknowingly had just signed me up for the City of Midland's swim team. And so I'm doing this, and I didn't know, and my mom left because it's 1985, and she didn't care, so she left me there and drove off and did whatever had to do for the other 98 kids she had, and would come back, and I didn't tell her about it. I'm just like, how was swimming lessons? Like, oh, I'm tired, whatever, I'm going home. Eventually getting to the point to where, like, we had to go to Odessa, which was the other town over, where at UTPB, University of Texas of the Permian Basin, which ironically now my cousin is the head trainer at, which is interesting, which I found out on Facebook. But I then was part of this gigantic, like they had like a full 100-yard swimming pool and all this kind of stuff. And again, all of these kids from around Texas are all like, 9-year-old kids in like their swimming caps and there's like their Speedos and they're all like flexible. And I'm just like this chubby kid, no freaking swim cap, no goggles, no nothing, wearing like 1985 baggy Pittsburgh Pirates shorts. I'm sitting there. I really don't even know how to do the thing. I just know I'm supposed to like touch the thing. And I hear beep, 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 and I jump in and I just start swimming as fast as I humanly can. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, eventually my 9-year-old brain goes, this is taking too long. Where the hell am I? So I stop and I look around and I'm like winning by like 10 yards. So I'm sitting there going, oh, what's going on? And my coach sits there and goes, swim, Mike, swim. So I get there, and I'm swimming, and I'm swimming, and I'm swimming, and I get there, and I win the race. And I get out of the pool, and my coach is like, all right, good job, Sass. And all the rest of the kids are pissed off because they lost to the chubby kid. And so I get my ribbon that says first place, and I sit up on the top of the thing and all that kind of stuff. And none of my parents are there. They just dropped me off, and they went to like Walmart to go shop for clothes or whatever. And she brings me back, and like the coach is like, all right, Mike, this is where we have to focus because I think you lose a little weight, you get rid of that baby fat. I think you can be a hell of a swimmer. And I'm like, no, I'm never doing this again, And so my mom picked me up, and I just was like, she's like, well, did you like it? I'm like, it was fine, but swimming lessons is over. And she's like, it is? Like, yeah, it's over for the summer. And my mom believed me because she didn't care.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, I guess we're not doing that anymore. And that was my brush with swimming in Texas.
See, I took swimming lessons. Like me and my sister took them together, and I was obviously younger than her, so I like started out in the baby pool and stuff, and then like we went to the bigger pool. And like one of the first days, they taught us like how to blow bubbles underwater. And then I never did anything else. Like all of the swimming lessons, that's all. I would just sit in the baby pool and blow bubbles underwater.
And you were 15 years old.
Yep. And that's all I did. That's why I don't know how to swim now, because I was really obsessed with blowing bubbles underwater.
Yeah. And to this day, you're interested in just going underwater and blowing bubbles.
Yep.
There you go. Especially if the gentleman's name is Bubbles. Dun-dun-dun. Anyways, I had to go there. It's just I'm a funny guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of that, hey, do we have any nice things that people have said about you?
No one said anything nice about me so far, but we do have some comments. So
Okay,
I guess we'll read them.
Okay, let's play the song and then read the comments. It's Comment Your Ass Off.
Say hello to the villain that's been you out.
All right. So
This is almost like a 2-hour show. This is like a jam-packed show.
Yeah.
You seem pleased.
Buzzy says, woo! And then he also says, crack a cold one, boys. Nick and Ashley are going to drop the science of Hollow Earth and the reptilian overlords that run our modern society. Some metal shit right there.
That is some metal shit. By the way, that's another place you should go. Metal shit. It's an incredible place where you just listen to Pantera and take dumps.
Sam asked who provides the wardrobe. Us.
Yeah.
We buy our own clothes.
I
know you think that like this style is really cool. We're both wearing black shirts. We planned
this is
that.
not black shirt.
Oh,
This
I'm
is
sorry.
more gray.
You're far away.
Yeah, I know.
On the screen, you look black.
Okay.
Not you. Your shirt.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be an interesting thing that I'd look like Denzel Washington. How you doing?
He also asked if this is a repeat episode. It is not. We're live.
We're live, bro.
This is a cool episode as opposed to last week's shit.
Yeah, I would admit it. It was lame.
Work Hard Pittsburgh says, soon the secrets of the world, our hollow earth, will be exposed.
Okay, good for them.
Dominic gave us a thumbs up.
There you go, Dom. Thank you.
Some people gave us some emojis that I can't put into words. DJ Cheez-It, yes, said the subterranean civilization of Agartha real. Sam asked us if we bought dinner for our guests.
Yes.
Which we should.
We should. A nice roast beef dinner.
Sometimes we give them like water and hugs and
water and hugs. That's you get fed off love. Boom.
DJ Cheez-It also said it was Zach Hudak. I don't know what that is in reference to.
Okay.
Probably something we talked about with Black Forge.
Who knows?
My mother commented and said, "Hey, I just tuned in and you're talking about Paul." Yeah. She was the one who told me to watch before you told me to watch it. She was the one who told me to. And then we all watched it together as a family last night.
Did you hold hands and sing like Beatles tunes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. As we do every Sunday night.
You should film that. That'd be a cool thing.
And she said that she was siding with me on this one. I found Paul subtly very funny too. She loved everything about it. Everything.
That's my response.
Thanks for siding with me, Mom.
Okay.
I love you.
Good for you.
But we had a nice little family day yesterday. I told
That's
you we
nice.
got to drink beer and then watch some carpool karaoke.
That sounds like a wonderful day at the Clemens house.
It was.
Speaking of Alex, again, if you want these tickets, You got to say something nice about Alex, or you got to be a woman who will let her sign her boobs.
So comment on any of our clips that we post this week through Thursday. On Thursday, I'll pick the winner. So comment on our clips, like the show, share the video on your Facebook because you love us so much.
Absolutely, because you
And
love
then we'll
Alex.
give you tickets.
Yeah.
Free tickets. And then
Alex
maybe
is
you'll
trying
see
to
me.
buy your love.
I really am.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
I
out
so
of
want
life.
you to sign some woman's boobs.
I know, it's all I want, and I feel like it's probably not going to happen.
Have you ever had a man? Have you ever met a man that you wanted them to sign your boobs?
Yes.
Who?
They're not like anyone famous.
Oh, you just like a
It's
random
like really
dude?
pretty people.
Just really pretty people? You should do that one time. Just go up to the guy at a club like, oh my God, aren't you? And he'd be like, Joe from accounting? You're like, oh my God,
Joe!
sign for my boobs.
Please sign Joe from accounting, though.
Can you imagine you just walked around the club in like a low cleavage outfit and you just had all the dudes sign your boobs?
Some of boobs. I ask in that voice, too.
Give the voice again. Look in the camera and just do it again.
Hey, some of boobs.
like it's your yearbook.
Keep in touch.
There you go. You're so funny. Ha ha ha.
They'll
Love
never
science.
change.
Never change. Never change at all. Again, it's the Mike Sasson Show. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again to Nick, Ashley, their Kickstarter. Support local comedy, support local arts, support local coffee, especially support McKee's Rocks. We'll be back next Sunday, as per normal, our schedule, as we venture into the most wonderful time of year, 4th of July.
Woo.
Woo. Anyways, we love everything about all of our viewers and listeners. Again, it's the Mike Sasson Show on www.riversedgepgh.com. Thank you very much for coming out. We appreciate you. Say something nice about Alex because she's feeling bad right now. See you. Bye.